Hello everyone, and today I will be doing a scored review on the game Bright Memory. Now this game was developed by FYQD Studio and published by Playism. This game is a first person, I guess the best way to describe it would be hack and slash mixed with first person shooter. The best I can compare it to would be like Call of Duty meets Devil May Cry, but that's just my opinion of what it reminds me of. I'll be basing my review on 5 categories: story, graphics, gameplay, and controls, sound and music, and achievements. So let me go ahead and get the game running in the background as I go over these. Now, this game's story, it was done by a one-man crew, so there isn't really a whole lot of story. This is like a one-off chapter of the game. There is another part of the game called Bright Memory Infinite, which is already out at the time of recording this. Now, this game doesn't really have a whole lot of story, and the story it does just kind of leaves you more confused than anything else because there isn't a whole lot of like backstory or explanation of what's going on or who the characters are and what their purpose is in the game. Um, Now, Shelia, the lead character, her personality in the game is not bad considering like how little time you get to spend with her. But outside of that, the story's kind of meh. I want to see what the full story engrosses, so I will eventually do Bright Memory Infinite. Now, for the second category, graphics. This is where the game really does well. The graphics are really nice and sharp, well detailed, but at the same time, a lot of it is very generic-y and can have old style texture looks, but the whole game itself is very well detailed and it does look good, all things considered that it's an indie title. Now, as for the gameplay and controls, the concept of the gameplay of it being a fast-paced action first-person shooter, Devil May Cry style, yes, you can juggle enemies in the air with your abilities and special skills, is neat in concept, but there's not a whole lot of areas in the battle where a lot of the combinations of the abilities are needed, but they are there for you to use. Now, one thing that this game does kind of suffer from is while the abilities are awesome, especially the damage dealing ones, the actual guns, the sword itself is pretty good, but the guns don't feel like they have a lot of power behind them. The pistol feels like what a pistol should, but the assault rifle and the shotgun don't feel like they have enough power for the type of weapon they are. Now, for the music and the sound effects, the the music's pretty good, and the sound effects are decent, though they do sound on the dated side. Um, Outside of that, there's not really a whole lot that's gonna what really draw you to the music and sound effects of the game. But again, this is like a one-off one chapter of the whole supposed story. Now, for the achievements are actually not that bad. They're fairly easy. It's basically beat the game a second time on the same save file, beat the game a third time on the same file, find all the collectibles, and then there's various other things like stay in the air for X amount of seconds, hold an enemy in the air for a certain amount of time. So it's pretty well balanced, and it really makes you work for the actual achievements, but not overdoes it with the achievements. And outside of that, it's the achievements. If you like achievements, this is an easy game to play for them. Now, overall, I would say normally I rank a game 5 out of 10 instead of the industry standard of 7 out of 10 for average. I'm sorry, getting really into the fighting here. And this particular game, while I like it, I like the concept behind it, I like the gameplay behind it, I would, unfortunately, as great as this game looks, I would have to give this a 6. While you're not paying a whole lot to get the game, there's not really enough here to hold your attention and make this game a standout must buy. But it is definitely a slightly above average first person shooter for the price. Now, if it was compared to like any normal first person shooter, this would definitely be a much lower ranking. So, for the small price, the short gameplay, the great graphics, it lacking a lot of depth in the story, the gameplay controls, and the music and sound effects, it's just a slightly above average game. So 6 out of 10, and I'll see you guys in the next scored review.